Okay, well, this is the final part of your the care of your Native American style flute. Or any of your woodwind instruments. I do this same sort of technique on my guitars, any woodwind instruments that need non evaporating moisture, and that's what oil supplies to a wooden instrument. Okay, not only the moisture that you would put like in a violin or a guitar, but you wouldn't be able to do that with a flute. So you want to be able to oil your flute. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of types of oils. I'm hoping that you can see that. You can see the oils. Now, I want to say that if you use an oil, you don't want to use any oil that will go rotten or rancid, okay? You don't want no olive oils, no salad oils, no tongue oils, and any of those sort of things that are made from a seed or a plant, okay, from its seed or plant. Now, that being said, there is oils that are made from nuts, but they're made from the shell. This is a walnut oil, which is the absolute best for any sort of wooden instruments, walnut or teak oil, but it can get a little expensive. This one here is like $18 for a bottle. Now you can see I don't use it because I'm afraid of somebody with a nut allergy, that may come up and play the flutes and have that allergy. So instead I use a basic cutting board or bowl oil. What you would put on a wooden salad bowl, or a nice piece of natural furniture, or your cutting board in your kitchen. It's basically food grade, non-toxic oils. Now, at places like Habitat and the fancy kitchen utensil stores like Habitat and stuff like that, you can pick up a Booz Butcher Block oil. It's a mystery oil. It's got a mixture of waxes, mineral oils, and food grade safe oils. Okay, but this is the oil that I use. It's $2.98. You can get it at any hardware store. It's called Butcher Block Conditioner. Okay, this bottle right here has probably oiled 1,000 flutes. Okay, now the first and it's got waxes. It's food grade mineral oil with natural waxes, with the bees waxes, which are extremely good for your flute. Okay, all right. So one of the first things that you need is a rag that is non-frilly, like a baby or a burp cloth, so that it doesn't want to catch on your flute in any sort of way. Okay, all right. So we're going to oil our flute. Okay, so now here's why I don't hard tie it. Like tie the fipple block down to the flute in a knot, because you want to be. It is healthy for your flute. Now understand this, what I'm telling you here, okay? I have injected into the slow air chamber of the flute with epoxy resin, so it's been plasticized on the inside, so there's no absorption of your breath, no swelling of the wood, and making the wood swell and thus your flute failing. But under your fipple block, where you're blowing your breath in here, and the air has passed up to the top, you can see in just the short time that I played there's moisture in this area here, which has not been cured with epoxy resin, but has been burnt. Okay. Now, this area here, it is healthy for your flute. That after you've been playing your flute for a little while, to remove the block and wipe it off and let it dry, and wipe off this area here. But like I said, be gentle. Wipe it off and let it dry before you oil your flute. Otherwise, you're sealing the moisture into the wood. Now, after a while, your flute's going to become cured by the oil, and there's not going to be any absorption in this area here, or swelling, or very little. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is we're not going to oil the inside of the flute. Okay, we're not going to oil down inside the flute. You don't have to pour oil. You can if you want to, but I've already sanded and lacquered the inside of the flute body. Okay. All right, so we're going to take this rag, shake up the oil, get that wax is nice and mixed up with the mineral. Okay, And it doesn't take very much, just a little tiny bit. Of course, this rag has been saturated. Get it on the rag very well, very well. Okay, all right. Now, when you take your flute, because your mouthpiece takes probably the most beating, you know, give it a good rub. Give it a good rub onto the mouthpiece area there. Now, be careful with your seat. You want to oil your flute. Okay, I'm hoping you guys can see that. Okay, oil the flute. Okay. Now I do just kind of go in the very front here and just, you know, wax the inside and the front. But here's the most important part. You want to just kind of oil each hole. Okay. And then here's the most important part. Be very gentle, because you don't want to pull any splinters up, and that's why the rag with no little, like a towel has little scraps of material that may grab a splinter and pull it up. So always oil this way, okay, and push some of the oil down into this air passage, okay, down into the air passage right here, and then you let your flute sit, okay, for a little while in its oil. Now, you can oil the entire fipple block, but the main portion of your fipple block that comes in contact with the moisture is this air passage, okay, and the bottom of your block. Give your block a little bit of, love, yeah. And you let them sit, okay. After you've let them sit for a little while, excuse me, I'm going to get up and get a rag that I wipe off my flutes with, okay. Now, I know I said no towels with Scrabblies, no towels with Scrabblies, but I'm pretty easy with my flutes. So now your flute's been oiled for a little while, okay, and just, you know, it's just absorbing a little bit of that oil. What's very interesting is that your flute will, in the beginning, will absorb the oil until it reaches a saturation point, and the more that you oil it until it reaches that saturation point, the sound that is produced by your flute is just going to get richer and richer over time. And what I do is I just wipe off gently. You notice I'm going away from my filed edge there. You don't want to pull anything up, so trust me, I've done it to plenty of flutes where you just make that mistake and you're running back and a little scrabbly from your rag pulls up a splinter. I want you to be able to have your flute for a long time. So you wipe off the oil, wipe off the oil on your flute, wipe off the block on the bottom. Okay. And you take your flute, you take the fipple block. You're not worried about lining it up right now. And I just simple tie it, and then twist. Just one time. And leather's really cool like that. It actually snugs the fipple block down to the seat of the flute. Whoa, sorry about that. And then again, I'm going to line up my fipple block, and it's really easy to push up the leather. I'm going to line up my fipple block. Your flute's ready to go. You just take it and put it back in your bag or on a display. Now, if you display your flute, I recommend not on the top of a fireplace where the convective heat will come up and make your flute dry out and brittle. Okay, probably not on a wall where the direct sunlight comes in and beats down on the flute, because it'll change the coloration and discolor your flute. But if you oil and take care of your flute the way that I have instructed, your flute will last a lifetime. At the very end of this segment here, I do recommend that you get yourself a cardboard tube, a tube, like a poster tube, and you just put it in the bag and you slide it down in the tube, because your flute is made of wood and it's soft and it will dent and bruise. But if you put it in a tube, you can carry it wherever you need to go. Well, I'm hoping that this video has been enlightening, and I've done a better job of explaining how to line up your fipple block and get a good sound from your flute. If you have any other further questions or you want to learn new techniques, you can go ahead and give me a call, and I'd like to sit down with you and teach you some new things. Well, this has been Jason with Peaceful Sounds in Alaska. Enjoy your flute.